good afternoon, or good evening, my beautiful hot messes. My name is Mistress Lavender, and today I'm reading the 48 Laws of Power. I'm on page 34. The book is by Robert Greene, and I'm going to start on the top of Louis would sit in silence. And let's begin. Before we begin, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn your post notifications on. Let's start. Louis would listen in silence, a most enigmatic look on his face. Finally, he would have finished his presentation and had asked for the king's opinion. He would look at them both and say, "I shall see." Then he would walk away. The ministers and courtiers would never hear another word on this subject from the king. They would simply see the result weeks later when he would come to a decision and act. He would never bother to console them on the matter again. Interpretation. Louis VIII was a man of very few words. His most famous remark is "L'état c'est moi." I am the state. Nothing could be more pithy yet more eloquent. His infamous "I shall see" was one of the several extremely short phrases he would apply to all manners of request. Louis was not always this way. As a young man, he was known for talking at length, delighting in his own eloquence. His later taciturnity was self-imposed, an act, a mask he used to keep everyone below him off balance. No one knew where exactly he stood, or could predict his reactions. No one could try to deceive him by saying what they thought he wanted to hear, because no one knew what he wanted to hear. As they walked on and on to the silent Louis, they revealed more and more about themselves, information he would later use against them to great effect. In the end, Louis's silence kept those around him terrified and under his thumb. It was one of the foundations of his power. As Saint Simon wrote, no one knew as well as he how to sell his words. His smile. No one knew as well as he how to sell his words, his smile, even his glances. Everything in him was valuable because he carried differences, and his majesty was enchanted by the sparseness of his words. It is even more damaging for a minister to say foolish things than to do them. Cardinal de Retz, 1613 through 1679. Keys to power. Power is in many ways a game of appearances, and when you say less than necessary, you inevitably appear greater and more powerful than you are. Your silence will make other people uncomfortable. Humans are machines of interpretation and explanation. They have to know what you are thinking. When you carefully control what you reveal, they cannot pierce your intentions or your meaning. Your short answers and silences will put them on the defense, and they will jump in nervously, filling the space with all kinds of comments. They will reveal valuable information about them and their weaknesses. They will leave a meeting with you feeling as if they had been robbed, and they will go home and ponder your every word. This extra attention to your brief comments will only add to your power. Saying less than necessary is not for kings and statesmen only. In most areas of life, the less you say, the more profound and mysterious you appear. As a young man, the artist Andy Warhol had the revelation that it was generally impossible to get people to do what you wanted them to do by talking to them. They would turn against you, subvert your wishes, disobey you out of sheer perversity. He once told a friend, "I learned that you actually have more power when you shut up." In his later life, Warhol employed this strategy with great success. His interviews were exercises in oracle speech. He would say something vague and ambiguous, and the interviewer would twist in circles trying to figure it out, imagining there was something profound behind his often meaningless phrases. Warhol rarely talked about his work. He let others do the interpreting. He claimed to have learned this technique from the master of Enigma, Marcel Duchamp, another 20th century artist who realized early on that the less he said about his work, the more people talked about it. And the more they talked, the more valuable his work became. Period. By saying less than necessary, you create the appearance of meaning and power. Also, the less you say, the less risk you run of saying something foolish, even dangerous. In 1825, a new Caesar, Nicholas I, ascended the throne of Russia. A rebellion immediately broke out, led by liberals. What? Led by liberals, dictators catching up to the rest of Europe. What? Oh, demanding, girl. A rebellion broke out, led by liberals, demanding that the country modernize, that its industries and civil structures catch up with the rest of Europe. Brutally crushing his rebellion, the Decembrist uprising, Nicholas I stated one of his leaders, Kondraty Ryleyev, to death. On the day of the execution, R stood on the gallows, the noose around his neck. The trapdoor opened, but as R dangled, the rope broke, dashing him to the ground. At the time, events like this were considered signs of providence and heavenly will, and a man saved from execution this way was usually pardoned. As Ray got to his feet, bruised and dirtied, but believing his neck had been saved, he called out to the crowd, "You see, in Russia, they don't know how to do anything properly, not even how to make a rope." A messenger immediately went to the Winter Palace with news of the failed hanging. Vexed by this disappointing turnabout, Nicholas I nevertheless began to sing the pardon. But then, did Rai say anything after this miracle? The Caesar asked the messenger. "Sire," the messenger replied, "he said that in Russia they don't even know how to make rope." "In that case," said the Caesar, "let us prove the contrary." And he tore up the pardon. The next day R was hanged again. This time the rope did not break. If he just shut his mouth. Learn this lesson. Once the words are out, you cannot take them back. Keep them under control. But be particularly careful with sarcasm. The momentary satisfaction you gain with your biting words will be outweighed by the price you pay. Image. The Oracle of Delphi. When visitors consoled the oracle, the priestess would utter a few enigmatic words that seemed full of meaning and import. No one disobeyed the words of the oracle. They held power over life and death. Authority. Never start moving your own lips and teeth before the subordinates do. The longer I keep quiet, the sooner others move their lips and teeth. As they move their lips and teeth, I can thereby understand their real intentions. If the sovereign is not mysterious, the ministers will find opportunity to take and take. Han Fai Zhu, Chinese philosopher, 3rd century BC. Reversal. There are times when it is unwise to be silent. Silence can arouse suspicion and even insecurity, especially in your superiors. A vague and ambiguous comment can leave you open to interpretations you had not been bargained for. Silence and saying less than necessary must be practiced with caution. Then and in the right situations, it is occasionally wiser to intimidate the court jester who plays a fool but knows he is smarter than the king. He talks and entertains, and no one suspects that he is more than just a fool. Also, words can sometimes act as a kind of smoke screen for any deception you might practice. By bending your listening ear with talk, you can distract and mesmerize them. The more you talk, in fact, the less suspicious of you they become. The verbose are not perceived as sly and manipulative, but as helpless and unsophisticated. This is the reverse of the silent policy employed by the powerful. By talking more and making yourself appear weaker and less intelligent than your mark, you can practice deception with greater ease. Period. This is cool. Okay, so that's the end of chapter or law 4. The next episode will be law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. And that's page 37. So next episode will be on page 37. Again, my name is Mistress Lavender, and I'm reading the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you're reading if it's not this book. And remember, have fun, stay safe, drink water, eat some food, and follow me. I'm so serious. Thank you. Bye.